The Dave LewAllen Podcast is sponsored by Shurms Candy, a Michigan-based company that specializes in awesome-tasting candy that's in the shape of Michigan. And welcome back to the Dave LewAllen Podcast. So pleased that you're with us today on YouTube, on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We hope we continue to be one of them for you. Today, it is my pleasure to welcome to the podcast the outgoing president at Central Michigan University, my alma mater, my school, CMU, Fire Up Chips, Dr. Robert Davies, the former president now at CMU in Mount Pleasant still. We're going to reflect on his time in office today, higher education in the state of Michigan and across the country, and his plans for the future as well. Dr. Davies, thank you for the time today.
Oh, thank you so much, David. Fire Up Chips. It's great to see you again and be interacting with you. You've always been a great ambassador for our university, so thank you and fire up.
Well, and thank you for your time, the 6 years that you spent as president at CMU. You made a decision last December, I guess it was, or over the Christmas break, that you would be stepping aside. You've done that now. Take me through kind of your decision making at that time. It's a big decision, certainly, to step aside from a job like this.
Oh, absolutely. It is it's a miraculous job. That being a university president is just a true honor to be in that seat and in that role. A good friend of mine and mentor, fellow president, used to call it one of the most important jobs because our future is being made on our campuses. And I really took that to heart. And I've served 3 different universities as president for over 16 plus years. Over the Christmas break, I've always kind of reflected on the past couple of years, most preceding year, and then also forecasted the next year and the next 3 years. And when I was brought to Central Michigan University, there were several key tasks to put forward. Get the enrollment back on stable ground, move the needle on philanthropic activity, create a sustainable financial model, and increase the visibility and a reputation of the institution statewide and region-wide. And we were able to accomplish those over those 6 years. One of the key things that I look forward to is what would be that next step. And there's some really far goals there, but they're going to be 5 and 8 years in the making. And I just felt at that particular time, given where I was in my career and what was moving forward, I also had to back up a little bit and say one of my key goals was to hand my daughter her diploma. And I did that twice, once for her undergraduate, once for her master's, both from CMU. And so my wife and I just really reflected and said, this is the time where we can step back and I could still be in higher education in a different role, but at the same time be involved and be engaged and continue those opportunities, but help other people become presidents and help them guide, and also go back to the love of teaching students and interacting with those. And so that was the decision we made. We're excited. We bought a house here in the Mount Pleasant area on Lake Isabella. We just really love it, and we're going to be staying and be active in the community, be active at the university, and continue to make a difference.
We'll talk more about the future, but let's reflect on those challenges that you mentioned when you came to Mount Pleasant in 2018. At that time, enrollment had taken a big dip. Very large dip at CMU. Things were not trending well. What did you do? How did you do it with your team to try to get that stabilized? Because, otherwise you're talking about constant budget cutting and all kinds of financial challenges. You want stability, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing that we did is and I remember very distinctly transitioning in for the first 6 months and everything else. And I was talking about the significant declines in enrollment. And people knew that the enrollment was down, but I don't think they really took a real hard look at that, how it particularly dropped. In enrollment's also it's also about momentum. It's not just the things that you do in the admissions area. There's a lot of different things that go into it, and it's really about creating the vision. It's about creating what is the value of the university. What does it stand for? And so one of the key things I did early on was did a town hall meeting through our academic senate, where that the single topic was enrollment, and we talked about very clearly displayed the trends. And then we talked about talked about strategies to improve it. We did make significant changes in our admissions process. We never changed. I will say this: we've never changed our admission standards. We've never lessened them. That was a key element. But what we did is become very aggressive. We had an attitude of people will choose CMU, that'd be great. We'll just continue to move forward. We became very aggressive in our outreach to potential students throughout the entire state and throughout the entire region. We refocused the whole campus visiting plan. We did. We're in football season. We just really changed our blocking and tackling strategies. Mm-hmm. We also changed the culture within the admissions office about really having goals and very measurable goals and outcomes, and holding people accountable. But more importantly, beyond that, we also created a culture throughout the entire university. Everyone was part of the admissions team. Everyone was part of those efforts. Our campus facilities team, for example, we talked about them, but how to really make the campus spruced up and approachable, and really talked about, and looked at where do people come when they come to campus to visit the campus. Where are they going to walk to? Where are they going to walk from? Where's that trail that they're going to take? I think one of the neat things I really appreciated over this past year is talking to some of our facilities team, and they were very proud because they saw what they did increased our enrollment numbers. For the last 3 years, we've had more freshmen come in than the previous year. We've had more international students. We've had more transfer students, and so we've really turned the whole admission cycle around. Technology, outreach, our marketing program is winning national awards. We actually competed and won against several of the major auto firms down there in Detroit with our marketing efforts. And so just really putting that very, very specific and very tangible results on that. So again, it's a whole mindset from admissions to academics to facilities to athletics to every part in between. How will we get more students to come to CMU? And it's been paying off.
Well, that's good to see for sure, and it's a more competitive environment than ever, right? We're producing fewer and fewer high school graduates in the state of Michigan. I mean, our population in the state is not growing, for one thing, and so your pool of potential university students is lessened from years past as well, which puts even more pressure on that attraction package.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the key things that we talked about during the last 6 years was increasing our market share within our home markets. We wanted to obviously increase our market share within the entire state, but very specific target areas where we consider those to be our home markets. The central Michigan area, our home county of Isabella, and then also making great strides in the Detroit Tri-County area. And we've seen significant increases in there. We've seen great increases in Lansing. We've seen great increases in Grand Rapids. And then also on the upper part of the UP as well as the upper part of the peninsula, there's fewer students there, but to really dominate those markets, that's, when we really took advantage of those opportunities and continue to see very good results from those efforts. Again, it goes back to a culture. It goes back to a focus. It goes back, the good thing or bad thing, the admissions office was right down from my office, and every morning I'll walk in and say, "How are we doing?" Yeah. And it's a great team. But again, also just being focused in on those efforts. We've had faculty from across the university participate in activities with us. We've had just overwhelming support from the entire university, all facets. Again. Our dining service team has stepped it up. Our facilities teams, our IT teams, everyone has just really been an amazing part of that turnaround.
And part of that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but part of that is also, right, as a university, knowing who you are and
yes.
and telling the world what it is you are, and then following through on those promises.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're absolutely right. This 2 years ago, we went through we finalized the major strategic planning effort. Was actually three and a half years in the making. But as part of that, we changed our mission statement. I challenge all your viewers to go to their favorite university all of them are obviously favorite Central Michigan University, but another university, and look at their mission statement. I guarantee you it's going to be a page long with a bunch of hyperbole. CMU's mission statement, and this is one of the key drivers, CMU's mission statement, we changed it. It's very simple. Central Michigan University is defined by the success of our students, our alumni, and the collective impact we have with the communities we serve. Find one other university that says we're defined by the success of our students and our alumni, right out of the gate. And that's our full mission statement right there. And so when we put that in front of potential students and their families and communities and everything else, we're saying that we're defined by what you do. Mm-hmm. And that's why, again, going back to our marketing campaign, we are active, we do things, and we are hands-on, and we take on obstacles and we overcome them. We promise when students come to CMU that they're going to be able to be employed in their area. We're leading the state right now in that metric. 96% of our students within 6 months of graduation are employed or are in graduate school within their area. And to me, those are the active parts that we put into it. We are that university that focuses on the student as a student, not as a number or not some metric that we want to achieve on the outside. We want them to be successful.
All right, so that was a lot of hard work getting to that point in your 6 years.
Yes, it was.
Let me ask you, now that you've stepped out of that role, what's the best thing about being a president at a university, any university, but a president at Central Michigan University? The best thing.
What I truly enjoy, what I woke up every morning at 4:30 in the morning, excited to go to work because I was going to be with students who are going to change the world. I was going to be with faculty members who are going to help those students change the world. I was with staff who was going to help faculty and the students achieve their dreams. And to me, being in that such positive environment, albeit with amazing challenges, immense challenges, but being able to interact with students and to hear and feel their passion about how they want to make a difference for their families, their future communities, and society as a whole. And to me, that was the greatest joy, just being involved with the students. I still do that. My wife and I went and saw our theater program put on Young Frankenstein, the play, the musical, last Friday. And it was absolutely amazing to see these students perform. And there were two people from Broadway watching and grading it. And they said this is one of the best collegiate performances of Young Frankenstein they have ever seen. Right here in Mount Pleasant, Little Central Michigan University. And to me, that's the exciting part, to see our students have that passion.
Well, you're staying and you're going to move into a different role. You're going to be a professor, an instructor,
Yes.
Starting in 2026.
Yep.
You're going to be with those students that mean so much to you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm very fortunate. The university has granted me what they call university professor. I'm the only university professor. That means I could teach in multiple colleges and really be kind of a free agent, so to speak. But I'm going to center in on two colleges. The first one is the College of Business, and I'm going to be teaching their leadership capstone class for their MBA program. And I'm really looking forward to that, to work with and talk about what leadership is, and to really define leadership and work with the students to help them develop their leadership traits and think about what really is about leadership, and how do we use that to do great things and to motivate other individuals. And then in the College of Education, we have a wonderful doctoral program in higher education, and they have a seminar class that they've had it on the books but never taught it. And the title is the University President. So I'm going to be teaching people who want to be university presidents how to do it. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Yeah. And it's also not just for people who want to be presidents, but to understand this role, to understand not only this role specifically, but how leadership at a university works, how universities in and themselves function. We do a lot of great things. We do some things we got to do better, no question. But we do a lot of great things. And when one of the major industries that the United States is known for is actually higher education. We import more people to come to universities in America than we export. We import more students across the world come to the United States because of our university system that we have. And we need to really embrace that and understand the power that that has. And so to me, I think that's also a very important part of that class as well.
My guest on the Dave LewAllen Podcast today is former Central Michigan University President, Dr. Robert Davies, joining me in conversation today. We'll pause for just a moment to tell you about our new sponsor for this podcast. It is Shurms Candy. Shurms Candy is a Michigan-based company that specializes in awesome tasting candy that's in the state of Michigan. Products include Misha Gummies, chocolate Misha Gummies, sour Misha Gummies, Misha Cinnamons, and the brand new strawberry-flavored Misha Minis. You can find Shurms Candy in many fine retailers around the state or online at shurmscandy.com. As we continue our conversation now with Dr. Robert Davies, the outgoing president at Central Michigan University, who will remain on the campus. You talked about leadership and the importance, and I guess we want every student in their own way to be a leader in their life, in their family, in their communities, in their job, and what a great place to learn some of those skills and life skills at a place like Central Michigan University or another of our fine institutions in this state.
Absolutely. And I think, we have some 15 public universities across the state. Each one is, in their own right, doing amazing work. But it's really CMU. One of our standards is one of our taglines is we set the leadership standard, and we really emphasize that from day one. We have several activities that go on campus: the Leadership Safari, Leadership Training, the Leadership Institute, and various other things that really allows all students to understand their leadership capabilities and responsibilities. And it's not by title or position. It's really about how to take leadership of your own self, how to help others, how to engage others in conversations, how to be a leader that follows others, but also by setting the example of that work is very, very important. And that develops a very strong sense of community that really epitomizes Central Michigan University as well. As I mentioned, my daughter was a student at CMU 4 years as an undergraduate and then 1 year as a master's student. And I would talk with her and her friends about what separates CMU from what their peers that went to other institutions are. And they keep on talking about collaboration versus competition. At CMU, the students collaborate. They all want to excel, but it's not this competition that they got to beat somebody else. They want to make sure everybody is learning, everybody is achieving the goals, everybody's going to be walking across that graduation stage in 4 years. Where other institutions, it's who's the number one in the class, who's got the better grade, the higher grade. At CMU, it's really about working together and having that teamwork that makes the big difference. And to me, again, that goes back to that leadership standard, working together and understanding that having different viewpoints, different discussions about issues, and disagreeing is okay. It's actually great. Just doing it in a manner that's civic and you can learn from one another. And that, to me, also is a very important part of that effort, too.
All right, what about challenges going forward for CMU in particular? There's a new president, Dr. Neil MacKinnon, who comes on to replace you in that role. But the challenge at CMU, challenge at other institutions of higher learning in this country, I mean, certainly cost would be one.
Sure.
It's getting more and more expensive all the time. Many students leave with a lot of debt after college. That's got to be something that's near the top, if not at the top of that list.
Absolutely. The financial model needs to be continued to be worked on at CMU and also with my colleagues at the other 15 public universities. We always really talk about how do we keep tuition low and also have scholarship programs that are based on merit as well as based on need to help students out. This past couple of years, the governor and the state legislature as a whole, both Republicans and Democrats, worked very hard to create the Michigan Achievement Scholars Program, and that has been an amazing opportunity for students. At CMU, we've also doubled down on that. and made sure that students coming from lower socioeconomic situations do have the means to go to the university and to participate in the academic world and provide for themselves to make sure that they move forward. One of the key things, and this came out of COVID, but we continue to maintain it, is that we guarantee every student who's admitted a job on campus. To me, that's an important part because A, it's financial. Obviously, it allows them opportunity to earn finances. But also, the research shows that if they work on campus, the likelihood of graduating, the likelihood of getting a job after graduation significantly goes up. And the reason for that is if you're working on campus, you got mentors built in. You got staff members that know that you're a student, that are going to help you. They're going to work around your schedules for tests and papers and things along those lines. But also, more importantly, when you have questions outside of that work area, when you run into a roadblock of some administrative thing, they know who to call to help you out. They can guide you through that process. And so having all of our students have the opportunity to work on campus, again, financially is a good thing, but also more important, it's that social community building effort that we will continue to do. So yeah, the financial part is going to be continuing to move forward. Demographics are getting tougher and tougher, and so really continue to fine-tune that niche. And the great thing about higher education in the United States is very competitive, and so you're always competing with other institutes. We partner and collaborate very well, but we also compete, and so just continue to sharpen that edge. As I mentioned this last year, third year in a row, we had the increases in our freshman classes. This past year, we went up 9%. There's other universities that went down 12%. And so again, that competition is something that need to keep the eye in. And again, also that goes back to the affordability, and then also just the reputation of higher education. We've got to do a much better job of showing that the value of higher education brings, showing that when students come, especially to a Central Michigan university, they are getting a fair and balanced. They are getting opportunity to really explore and to debate and to have civic discussions. We try very hard to make sure that we are presenting both sides or all sides of any type of discussion and argument. We allow that space to occur. We want our students to engage. We want our faculty and staff and our students to engage in those difficult conversations to come out with better ideas and better solutions. Again, that goes back to the leadership standard. Is hearing all ideas and all viewpoints and to move forward. We had a student, a faculty member created a student group for just that particular reason, where they purposely created opportunities to have to talk about political items in a manner that was civil and understanding and able to everyone to provide their viewpoints. To me, again, that's another important part of what we need to continue to do and to move forward on.
You had mentioned COVID in that answer, and in some ways it seems like a long time ago, but the impact of COVID on your presidency, on your university, our university, and universities across the country. I mean, it's significant. Certainly, at the time, were there lasting lessons that have come out of that in some way maybe has been beneficial to CMU and other universities, as difficult as it was?
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was obviously a very stressful time and changed the university in many ways. And no one anticipated it, for lack of a better word. But I will say that CMU, and we still get phone calls from other universities about how we handled it in such a manner to keep the university open throughout the entire process and serving our students and doing the things. I really commend our team through that process. But yes, that changed our university immensely and society. It was last May when I was at the commencement. I talked to the students and mentioned that this is their first graduation that they've ever been in person because their high schools was all canceled.
Right.
And so really thinking about the impact that it had on them throughout not just their time at CMU, but through their end of high school and all the way through. And we're still seeing some ramifications about that. I think that part of the communication, the lack of ability to communicate on difficult discussions was part of that, because we were so isolated, so separated. We're doing this now. We're operating via screens, and it's hard to put that forward. And so I think really rebuilding that sense of community. But one of the key things I think higher education needs to learn from that, is we can change quickly. We basically shut down the university on a Thursday, and by Monday we're operating remotely. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about doing that and how we were able to shift into those areas, and making sure that the quality and the systems were still in play, the flexibility, the understanding, the reaching out. I think those were important aspects. I also think it also shows how fast things change with technology and resources and other aspects of employment, that we need to be much more nimble in the things that we do. To change a major program at a university is probably a 2-year work through all the different things. And there's a good reason to have some checks and balances in there, so you're not just flying off the handle and going into areas that you don't need to, or doing things that will water down the program. But at the same time, we need to be a lot more flexible and nimble in that process. And at CMU, we're working that through. We're getting programs up and running faster. I just reached for a little deal. We got a drone program at CMU that's now spanning 9 different departments. And these little things are changing the way we think about how we do technology, how we communicate, how we move logistics, and how we do news and everything else. And we've got 9 different programs all working together in different colleges. And that's unheard of. All through the drone program. It's something that we started at CMU, and it's really, it's no pun intended, but it's taken off.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting to see where it's going to go. It started actually in the broadcasting area, and now it's in the theater, and it's now in the business area, and it's in the interior design. And it's exciting to see where this will continue to move forward.
So there was the need with COVID to take classes online, instruction online. That still exists today to some degree. Is it going to remain part of higher education going forward as well, a significant part? Where will it fit going forward as you look into your crystal ball?
I think we'll continue to move forward. I think that a university needs to have multiple prongs of educational delivery. And when I say that, obviously we could go to how the education is delivered face-to-face in person at a satellite campus, or using the technology and the internet and asynchronous and synchronous, all that type of stuff. That's important. But also we need to be thinking about degrees themselves. Do we need to start thinking about how we create opportunities for students to go in and out to earn their bachelor's degree? How to stack the bachelor's degree, and then certificates afterwards that will eventually lead to a master's degree, and to give opportunities for things along those lines. So certificates and badges and short in and out. Dual credit in high school and everything else has been out there for a very long period of time, but making it much more robust, so it's not just a high school teacher and a student just mimicking out, but really how to create much more of those interactions between the high school students and the college students, and the professors and the high school teachers working in a much stronger team environment. So those are some of the things I think that really need to play a role. Another real important part, and this is part of our strategic planning process, is to make sure that we're embedding apprenticeships, internships, etc., for every single program, so that the students are out there in the field gaining those real life experiences that they can bring back and change the curriculum and the criteria at the university, but have those opportunities right as a college student. One of the things that we want to do is have every student have that apprentice/internship research opportunity before they graduate.
Well, that internship for us in broadcasting, I can speak from personal experience, was critically important, both from the hands-on standpoint, the learning, the networking, just the interacting with professionals in the field, critical to having a leg up as you look to move from
Absolutely.
college into your professional career. It's essential.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the fun things I've every time I've traveled the state all over, and every time I go into a newspaper or a radio station or a TV station, there's always a CMU banner. It's amazing to see all the CMU graduates in that area. And the other real fun one too is in the national and state park system. We have graduates throughout every state and national park in Michigan. There are CMU graduates there, and then this past summer we sent 35 students to the Grand Canyon, where they were met by a plethora of CMU graduates who are working in the Grand Canyon at the national parks there. I mean, again, just having those opportunities to engage is so very, very important.
Former CMU President Robert Davies is my guest on the Dave LewAllen Podcast. We'll get a final word from him in just a moment after we, once again, tell you about our sponsor of the Dave LewAllen Podcast, Shurms Candy, a Michigan-based company that specializes in awesome tasting candy that's in the shape of the state of Michigan. Products for Shurms Candy include Misha Gummies, chocolate Misha Gummies, sour Misha Gummies, mini cinnamons, and the brand new strawberry flavored Misha Minis. You can find Shurms Candy in many fine retailers around the state or online at shurmscandy.com. Thrilled to have them on board with us as we move forward with our conversations over the next weeks and months. Today with Dr. Robert Davies, the outgoing former president now of Central Michigan University, who will stay on campus with the university as well as an instructor moving forward, in addition to some of his other responsibilities as well. A final word, Dr. Davies, I guess, as you again reflect on the 6 years, the difference that you feel you made in that institution, I guess the pride you take in advancing. What are the things that, when you reflect back, that you, and we've touched on some of those, but
Sure.
the experience that you're most pleased about personally?
I guess the thing I'm most pleased about is 6 years ago I came. It was a very good university, and we're leaving in much better shape. This past year, we saw the enrollment numbers go up, third year in a row with increases. We had the highest level of giving philanthropically in the history of the university. We've had the highest level of research grants in the history of the institution. Our rankings and ratings are at the highest levels across the board and those type of things. But what really excites me when I was the last week or two, my presidency, walking across campus, having students stop me and talk about how when they came to CMU that the university helped them make a difference. Having staff come up and talk with me about how they've enjoyed working with me and how they are feel empowered to make the university better. And the same thing with faculty, as well as the talking with alumni. It's the numerous cards that I've received with some personal stories about how a difference was made and how their outgoing changed the world. It's that person-to-person, that relationship, to me, that is most satisfying.
Well, and we thank you for your service as an alum, your leadership over the 6 years at Central Michigan University, and we're excited for the fact that you're going to remain involved and engaged with students and helping the next classes of students move forward through that university as well.
I'm very excited about it. And as we say, and as always, fire up chips.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate this as well. Thank you for your time today. Dr. Robert Davies, the former president at Central Michigan University, joining me today on the Dave LewAllen Podcast. As always, we thank you for being here, for sharing this with friends and those in your network as well. It's how we'll grow this podcast and these conversations and continue to bring you many more. Again, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, thanks to producer-director Josh Bowron and to you for watching and listening. Stay safe, be kind. Shurms Candy is a Michigan-based company that specializes in awesome tasting candy that's in the shape of Michigan, a proud sponsor of the Dave LewAllen Podcast.